so proud to be Haitian because just everything about being Haitian is just awesome.
Everyone know about the history of Haiti, first Black independent country in 1804.
Understanding the history of Haiti, Haitian people, you can't help but be proud of the accomplishment that have happened.
Haitian Americans have done really well in the past few years. There's still a lot more work to be done. Only about 20% of us actually have a bachelor's degree.
I understand firsthand some of the challenges that Haitian American students, graduates, and professionals have faced.
Some of them have overcome incredible adversity.
Both immigrated or asylum seekers or refugees.
There are not that many Haitian-focused scholarships, but like any other award, the NAHP Leadership Award is providing recognition for one's hard work.
As we know, college is expensive, so this scholarship fund provides the chance for a brighter future.
It felt like the universe was speaking, like I needed the money, I was intrigued, people were telling me to apply.
Going to college or graduate school can be very, very expensive. So donating to a scholarship like this would help that expense be more manageable.
Future generation of leaders, scholars, entrepreneurs,
young adults that are trying to make something of their lives.
They are rock stars. They just need the help, and they need us to help them accomplish it.
There's like this Haitian proverb that says, "Many hands many hands make the load lighter."
Log in and you can donate $10, $25, $50.
It makes me think of the Malcolm X quote that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. It makes me happy to know that our organization is contributing to that goal, preparing others for the future.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Doris Pierre, Claslyne Doris Pierre, and I am the scholarship coordinator here at the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals, also known as NAP.
Hi, I'm Dr. Marjorie Brennan. I'm one of the committee members of the scholarship committee. Very happy to have all of you here to hear more about the scholarship program and some effective strategies, not just for this scholarship, but as you approach college applications or grad school applications in general. Thanks for being here this afternoon. So we are going to start with some tips on the college application resume. Why is it important? Well, it's very important because it's sort of a little teaser or a summary that as somebody is reviewing your application, that it makes them want to know more about you. It makes them pause and say, I want to get this to know this person better. Realize that when you're applying to the NAHP scholarship or any college or grad school or job even, that there often are many, many people who are applying for the same thing. And the people who are reviewing these applications are looking through many profiles. And you sort of want to have something that's going to stick out and make you get noticed. So what it will do is, what it does is it details your skills and training and work experience and education, but most importantly, the accomplishments that you've made. And it provides a summary of your qualifications. Its purpose is to persuade the reviewer to interview you and consider you. If you can, try to keep it to one page. You should include your academic profile if you've got something interesting to say, such as you were in the top 10% of your class, or if you've done any advanced course study or AP placements or IB courses. Those are important. In terms of SAT and ACT, we're not requiring those this year, so you do not have to submit them. If you do, list the highest score if you took the test more than once. Also, definitely make sure that you include any co-curricular, affiliated clubs, musical clubs, or any teams that you took part in. If you've had a job, include that as well. That might include internships, research experience, job shadowing, any special skills that you might have in terms of language or computer skills. Volunteer experience is really important. We want to see that you've been an important part of your community and have been giving back to your community. So please include those, any special recognitions or hobbies and interests that you have. Now, in terms of the essay, you will have a prompt for this essay, and so I want to give you a couple of examples of some very good essays. These aren't necessarily related to our prompt, but I think they give you a good example. So this one starts with, when he came home, my sister and I had to take care of him during the day when my mom went to work. We cooked his food, washed his dishes, and excessively cleaned the house to make sure we didn't get the disease as well. So even from that first sentence, you kind of sort of know where they're going with this, but you also maybe want to hear more. However, I grew emotionally mature because of this experience. My sister and I became more responsible as we took on more adult roles in the family. I grew even closer to my dad and learned how to bond with him in different ways, like using Netflix Party to watch movies together. While the experience isolated me from most of my friends, my dad's illness taught me to treasure my family even more and treasure the time I spent with him. This is another prompt, but a very different kind of story, which is, as our letters flew back and forth, this was a young woman who, during the pandemic, developed a pen pal who was actually in an assisted living facility. And she wrote about that. As our letters flew back and forth, I decided to take a chance and share my disgust about the treatment of people of color at the hands of police officers. So really an interesting intro. To my surprise, Alden responded with the same sentiments and shared his experiences marching the civil rights movement. When I arrived at my first Black Lives Matter protest this summer, I was greeted by voices of singing protesters. The singing made me think of a younger Alden stepping off the train at Union Station, Washington, D.C. to attend the march in 1963. So this year, when NAHB, as well as colleges and grad schools and med schools, are not necessarily looking at test scores, the essay is going to really matter. The essay is going to take on even more weight when those standardized test scores and extracurricular activities that you might have been doing are not happening anymore. So my main tips about this are to tell a good story, write about something that's important to you. It could be an experience, a person, a book, anything that's had impact on your life. Don't just recount. Don't just tell us what happened. Reflect on what happened. If you're writing about an experience, keep the reader engaged. When recalling these events, you need to give more than a play-by-play or itinerary. Describe what you learned and how it changed you. Answer the question being asked. Look at the prompt and make sure you're speaking directly to the organization, that you've learned what the organization's mission and values are, and that might help you kind of decide what kind of story you want to tell. Start early and write several drafts. Set it aside for a few days and read it again. Is the writing concise? Is it written in your voice? And does it reveal something about you? And have at least one other person edit your writing. Could be a teacher or a counselor or a good friend, but double check it. Make sure that it's free of spelling or grammatical errors. Ultimately, just make sure that the story you're telling is yours. All of you have a story that's worth telling. Don't think that you need to have some huge, life-changing, drama-filled experience. Sometimes those small moments actually lead to very important breakthroughs. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Doris, who's going to give you some application strategies.
All right, this was great. Thank you, Dr. Marjorie. As I've shared before, I have a few more tips for you guys. For those of you who did not attend the first session, I'll go over some of the general tips that I shared about the application, as well as general tips you can use before the application, and even after you submit your application. Make sure you guys can see my screen. All right. Okay. And so all right. Okay, so the application, as I've done before, I've went over the different components on the application that you guys would need to make sure you fill out. And we'll start with the general information. Again, we would like to know about more information about you, who you are, what you've been doing, etc. It is very important that you take your time to complete the application in its entirety. And so we'll start with, again, the general information. We're asking for your name, your email address, your phone number. We would like to know just a little bit more information about you and what you've been doing. And so for those of you who are not currently in the state or in the United States or international, I would click on U.S. Legal Temporary Resident International Students. You would then add your date of birth and a short biography. So as I've shared before, a really good way for you to draft your biography would be for you to go on our website and navigate to the leadership tab. We have amazing biographies there that you can read. I would say to keep it short, keep it concise, and really tell your story, as Dr. Marjorie has shared earlier with your survey, with your essay. And so after you've submitted or you've added your biography, you also have the opportunity here to submit your essay. And towards the end of my presentation today, I'll go over a few general tips that you should follow when it comes to submitting your scholarship application. And so plan early. I don't need to really go into detail with this one, since Dr. Marjorie has shared a lot of great information with you guys. And of course, a professional headshot. I can't stress this enough. It has to be a professional headshot. I would not use a photo that was taken at a party, or a photo that was taken in your backyard with your dog and your friend. I would instead find a clear background, ask one of my friends, a family members, to take a screenshot. Again, if you have any questions about what a professional headshot is, what should it looks like, what should you wear, we have all of the information available to us in a way. I would Google, but we also have some great examples on our website for you to use, and make sure that you submit a professional headshot. All right. And so after you submit your professional headshot, you have to let us know your current education level. If you are a senior in high school, whether you are in graduate school, or you are in your fourth year of high school, whatever it is that's happening with you, let us know your current education level. And the next thing that we would like to find out is, whether you are currently enrolled part-time or full-time. And so after you've clicked part-time or full-time, you can go ahead and upload a transcript. So some of you guys have asked, I've completed high school, but I took a year off and did some type of certificate, or I took a course. What is your advice on the exact transcript that I would submit? So my advice to you would be to submit your high school transcript an undergraduate transcript, or even a graduate transcript. If you would like to upload additional documents, you do have the ability to do so. Let us know whether you've been involved in extracurricular activities, if you've been doing some type of LinkedIn learning, but really we want to focus on your high school transcript, your undergraduate transcript, as well as your graduate transcript. And here you add your the name of your high school, the address, the year, your current GPA. And as Dr. Marjorie has mentioned, we have waived the requirement for you to submit your SAT and ACT scores. And so just for the sake of the application, I would just add 0. That way you can submit the application. We'll also make sure that we work on the back end so that it doesn't stop you from submitting the application without the scores on it. All right. And for your college and university, if you've received acceptance letters, this is where I would put that information. If you are already enrolled, I would also write the name of the university, the address, your current GPA, and if you have 2 different schools, for some of you who are doing, I don't know whether it's dual programs, I've seen that at times they would be completing a certificate at one school, but a degree in a different school. And so this is where you would put in that information where it says college, university, number 2. And of course, we're asking for your major or your intended major. And so if you are not currently enrolled, you would not have a current major, but an intended major. Let us know whether you plan on pursuing an education in education or a career in healthcare, human resources, pre-med, whatever it is. Let us know your current major or your intended major. We're also asking that you upload an acceptance letter or a tuition and bill statement. And once we choose the winner, we'll go ahead and submit the payment directly to your school, and they'll be the one to disperse that payment to you into your account. If you have also completed, if you volunteered, also upload all of that information. Again, make sure that your application can tell your story, what you've been working on, your passion, etc. So if you have volunteered at your church for an hour or 2, let us know that you have volunteered in your community, in school. If you are involved with any organization or association, make sure you upload that information right here where it says volunteer information. If you have other extracurricular activities, you'll go ahead and upload that here where it's asking for activities, or you can also write it. You don't have to necessarily upload a document. Any awards and honors, if you've been honored in your community, your church, be sure to let us know as well. Your resume, I typically say to keep it at 1 page. If you do not have extensive experience in your field or even in a different industry, I would say to keep it at 1 page. If you are pursuing a PhD or a graduate degree, then your resume would most likely be 2 pages long or 3 pages long. But I would say ideally, if you are in high school, keep it at 1 page maximum. Especially given that we are allowing you to upload your extracurricular activities in a separate box. So I would say with your resume, focus solely on some of the information that are not included on the application. Lastly, you do have to submit a recommendation letter, 2 recommendation letters actually. And once you request that recommendation letter, they can send it to you. They can send you a PDF file. That's what I've seen the most. I also highly recommend that you ask for a PDF copy. You can upload your letter here. I've seen that some applicants, they've reached out because their professor would like to submit the letter directly to us. And so you can do that as well by reaching out to us on the scholarship email, which is scholarship@napusa.org. All right. And so I've just went over the application. I know this was quick, but this is really giving you guys, again, a brief overview into what the application entails for the NAP scholarship. Now, going back to going back to some of the general tips that I have for you guys. The first thing I would say when submitting your application is not to procrastinate. As you know, the deadline is quickly approaching. We are going to be extending the deadline. Be on the lookout for an email from us. Be on the lookout for an email or even a flyer on our social media. In addition to that, I would say to start your application early, right? So I've just reviewed the application. I've given you a little bit of information into what we're looking for, about what we're looking for on the application. Even if you don't want to start writing your essay, at least read the prompt, know what to expect, read the guidelines, what we're looking for, how long it should be, etc. In addition to that, again, take your time. I would say set 5 minutes aside for you to just read the application thoroughly, so that you can understand exactly the items that you need to submit to us in order for you to be considered for one of the NAP scholarships. All right. My second tip for you is to stay organized. I advise people to keep a spreadsheet. Always, it helps a lot. Or if you use some type of project management software, it can help you in staying organized. When you reach out to Professor A and it's been 2 weeks and they have not answered, it is your responsibility to follow up and say, hey, just following up on that letter of recommendation. The deadline is quickly approaching. Okay. So if for any reason you haven't heard from Professor A because they're on vacation or something, you can make note that, just waiting on Professor A to respond. We're just 1 week away from the application deadline. Let me reach out to Professor B, right? Staying organized will help you. I would say for you, another tip for you to stay organized is when uploading your application documents. So the rule that I've always used, I've always saved my documents as first name, last name. So I would do Doris _ Pierre, and I would then add the name of the document that I'm uploading. So if you are uploading your resume, I would do Doris _ Pierre resume. If you are uploading documents about your extracurricular activities, I would say first name, last name, extracurricular activities, so that you can make sure you're not uploading the wrong documents when you are submitting your application. Okay. Pay attention to details and requirements. That is the third tip that I have for you. Again, I cannot stress these tips enough. It is very important that you pay attention to details and requirements. When you go on our website, you can read the guidelines. You can understand exactly what we're looking for, who qualifies, who doesn't qualify for the application, for the scholarship. And if you have any additional questions, you have our email addresses. You can reach out to us so that we can help you in any way possible. All right, I'm going to share my screen for a second so that I can show you guys where you can find more information about, detailed information about the application once again. So the first component here, we have added information about the qualifications. You must be enrolled in an accredited university, 2 or 4 year college or university. We have the credit requirements, be of Haitian descent. Really, we have all of the qualifications listed here on the first component of this page. The second component is focused on the application process and required documents. I would say take your time, read the essay questions, exactly what we're looking for. A letter, one of the letters must be from a professor. So if you reach out to your a former boss or a former supervisor or manager, then the second letter must come from one of your professors. So plan accordingly, right? 1-page resume. We're not looking for more than 1 page. 1-page resume maximum. Your biography. So take the time to read the guidelines. And of course, here at the bottom, we have the selection process. If you have questions about how you're selected, how you can be selected for the scholarship, what happens after you get selected, we've added information here about this disbursement process. And lastly, this is the email address if you want to reach out to ask any questions, if you have any concerns, if you are having any technical difficulties. This is the email address that you can use to reach out to us and ask any questions that is not covered on our website. Okay. Complete the application in full. That is the fourth tip that I have for you guys today. Make sure you upload the documents that we are requesting. Don't upload your resume, but then you fail to upload your professional headshot, or you've uploaded your professional headshot but not a biography. Complete the application in full. It is very important because once we start screening the applications, if you are missing some of the required documents or some of the required documents that we're looking for, you will not move on to the second step on, the second reviewing stage of the applications. Then the fifth tip that I have for you guys, as I've shared before, is to give it a final once over before you submit your application. So for your resume, I would ask a colleague, I would ask a professor, a supervisor to review it. Your essay, I would reach out to a colleague, whether writing is what they enjoy doing. I would say, hey, I'm submitting my application for the NAP scholarship. Could you review it for grammatical errors or anything else that you think that I may need to change from from my essay? So sometimes, we take the time to craft whatever piece that we're putting together, and for some reason we may just make one minor error and not even realize it. But having somebody else reviewing the document for us can make a huge difference. Okay, so give it a final once over before you submit the application, and also reach out to someone and have them review it, whether it's with you, or they can also review it during their own time. Ask for help if you need it. If you are unsure of anything that I've covered today, or Dr. Marjorie has covered, or any of the previous speakers have covered about the scholarship, reach out to us, reach out to me. As a scholarship coordinator, I am available to answer any questions that you may have and address any concerns that you also may have. So don't feel that you're by yourself. You can reach out to us and ask us any questions that can help you in submitting a successful application. Okay. And lastly, one of my favorite tips is to be professional throughout the process. Be professional when reaching out to us about your questions, your concerns. Be professional when reaching out to your professors to ask for a recommendation letter. Be professional when writing your essay. Be professional. I would highly encourage any potential applicant to stay professional throughout the application process, and even after you get awarded an application, or if you were not one of the scholars for this year. Okay, we receive a lot of applications, but we can only award 5 scholarships a year. So if for any reason you were not chosen for one of the scholarships, it's not a reason for you to be rude, to send rude emails. You have to stay professional throughout the application process and throughout the cycle. These are some of the general tips that I have for you guys today about submitting a great application and standing out from all of the applications that we are receiving. I am ready to answer some of the questions that you may have. We can get started. Dr. Marjorie, would you like to answer this question? Will the scholarship only take into account tuition or other fees as well, rent, grocery?
Well, we will disperse the scholarship to your school. So in general, the scholarship is basically going to cover fees that your bursar would be sending to you. So it's going to be tuition, room and board if you're on campus, books if you're buying them through school. Those kinds of things are what the scholarship will be used for.
So in short, it can be used for other expenses, but it has to be paid, or the payment has to be processed directly from your financial aid department. Can there be more than one recipient and winner?
Yes,
So,
we will award 5 scholarships. By that question, I assume that means 4th year and then 4th year currently, and then finishing with nothing else in the fall. If that were the case, I would say no, unless you are applying to grad school. If you're applying to grad school, absolutely.
for the award, should we upload? Should we upload a scanned copy of the award? If it's one award, I think a scanned copy is good. But if you have more than one award, I would probably create, a one-page document with detailed information about the different awards that you have won. Any other questions? What will the extended deadline be?
It will be extended to May 1st.
All right. Okay.
Sounds like that's it.
That's
thank you so
it.
much.
Well,
Thank
anything
you,
else?
Doris, for joining this call and giving such fabulous information. Thank you for NAP for providing the scholarship and providing incredible support. Thank you for all of you who joined today. Thank you.
Thank you all. You have a great day.
You too.